Okay, now this is part 2. So let's carry on. The fourth question here, demography. Now, demography is not so much of a hard question. It's just, as I was saying before, they can add one or two things onto it just to make it awkward for you. And yeah, so this is what I mean. So, what is demography? Now, you have to understand demography can be split into medical demography and just normal demography. So yeah, just watch out if they include something like what is medical demography, because the definition will be different. All right, so yeah, if you can tell me what these two are in 3, 2. Okay, so medical demography is we study the demographic closely related to the health of the population. This is directly from the lecture. Okay, we study the demographic closely related to the health. Demography, and we're looking at health. That's your definition. This is medical. If we were to go to the normal definition, then you could say, it's the study of the characteristics of the population according to size, growth, and density. Okay? According to size, growth, and density. Just after learning it. Okay? Alright. Now, what are the types of demography? Okay? Now, don't overthink this. Okay? You should. I guarantee you'll know this. Okay? But you have to pace yourself. You can't overthink. The two types is population dynamics and population statics. Alright? It's statics. It's not statistics. Alright? We're not bothered about, indicators and indices and all that. It's statics. Statics because we are looking at the demography at a fixed point in time. Fixed point. Whereas dynamic, we're looking at the population in regards to a period of time. Okay. Now, dynamics is split into natural and migrational. Natural change, migrational change. Now, this is something I want to ask you guys. Could you give me the categories in migrational? Yeah, could you give me the categories that would come under migration? Now, I'm going to give you a little contradiction here, because what our teacher said in the practical is different to what the actual lecture says. Okay? I'll give you a few seconds. Alright. So, in the lecture, they say there's two main categories, but in our practical, she mentioned 3. So I'm a bit confused, and yeah, I'm not too sure what answer to go with, but nevertheless, now in the lecture, okay, let's get, yeah, orange will do. Okay, so in the lecture, the answers which are said to be under migrational is external and internal. Okay, there is no voluntary that comes under migrational, at least at this level here. Voluntary, you can find it, is under external. So we split migrational into external and internal migration. Yeah. Those people who leave a country and those who enter. Right. And forced and voluntary comes under external, and permanent and temporary comes under internal. Now, what our teacher said in the practical is, we have 3 types of migration: external, internal, and voluntary. Okay, this teacher said this. Okay, so I'm just confused what to go for. So yeah, I'm not too sure. Should I go for external, internal, and then split it up like I've done here? Or do I give 3 but go against the lecture? Yeah, I'm not too sure. I might have to ask her this in the next lesson, but if you guys know the answer, then give me a shout. Alright, work incapacity. Okay. Now this is one of the questions I got for my oral, and yeah, it didn't go as well as I wanted to. But yeah, that's whatever. Alright. Now I'm going to do a side-by-side comparison. Okay. Question. Okay. So as we all know, incapacity at work can be split into permanent and temporary. Okay. I'm not gonna go into the details, right? But notice there are 2 types, and with each 2 types you have respectfully individual differences in terms of certificates and days and etc. etc. Okay, well, let's just start off with these questions. Firstly, what document do you get for permanent incapacity, and what document do you get for temporary incapacity? Same question. All right, what document do you get for permanent, and what do you get for temporary? All right, the answer is, for permanent you get an EEC, and for temporary you get an MSc. So I made a little mistake here. It's an MSc. Now an EEC is basically an expert evaluation. Yeah, I know I'll spell that wrong. I don't care. Expert evaluation certificate. Okay. An MSc is a medical sickness certificate. So yeah, understand there are 2 different types. How long do we get for each certificate? How long are we allowed to take off? How many days are we allowed to take off? Let's start with the permanent. How many days? Now, with permanent, you get 1 to 3 years or life. Okay, it could be lifelong. This was one of the mistakes that was made in one of our Colloquium. So 1 to 3 years or lifelong. It can be two. It can be two. Okay. So just know that. How long for an MSc? Sorry. Now this depends on which medical professional you go to. Okay. So it can be of 3 types, and I'm not gonna look. I want to try and remember what it is. All right. So if you go to a GP or a dentist, you get 14 days at that moment, and you can get 40 days in a year. Second is, I think you can get like 30 days, I think. 30 days to 180 days in a year. And the third one is you can get more than 180 days. Let me just confirm that so I don't give you some false information. Okay, so yeah, I was right. Thank God, I was right. Okay, so yeah, so it depends where you get it from, and uh, one thing you have to know is obviously the institutions in which you can get it from. So these institutions are GP, Medical Consultation Commission, TEMC, and NEMC. Now, the reason I've highlighted TEMC is because both of these institutions give different, these institutions, TEMC, depending on if it's temporary or permanent, can give different days. Okay. So with temporary for TEMC, how many days they can give? They can give more than 180 days. How long can they give? More than 180 days. But if we go to permanent, what can the TEMC give here? They can give 1 to 3 or lifelong. Same institution, but in different circumstances can give different days off. Okay. Now, who gives these documents? Who gives the permanent document? Who gives it? Who's responsible? Okay. I think it's a TEMC. Hopefully I'm right. Is it TMC? Yes. Okay. The TMC. They give you the document for permanent incapacity. But what about temporary? Who gives you that? Well, it's just simply the medical professionals. Yeah. The medical professionals give you it, and it can be the GPs, it can be the Med Consultation Commission, which includes 2 physicians, or the TEMC. Who gives it? Medical professionals, depending on the severity. It depends on your severity, how many days you get off. Severity of injury. Okay? And just realize it doesn't have to be an injury why you get the temporary incapacity. It could be because you're caring for someone, maybe an elderly person you're caring for, or maybe you're a pregnant woman, or there could be, I don't know, a quarantine, and then maybe it could be a trauma. All right, so yeah, just know that. So yeah, that's a it's a tricky one because it does sound similar, incapacity at work, but there are different documents behind it, and there's going to be different answers for each. Okay. Now let's move on to birth rate. What are the factors affecting the birth rate? All right, I'll give you a few seconds. Now, here, the clue is in factors. Okay? Because they could change this and they could say, they could switch it for what are the indicators. They could say this, alright? They could change it for indicators. And if they change it for indicators, the answer will be different. But it's saying factors, okay? So what are the factors? The answer is traditional culture and religion. Okay? We've already mentioned religion before. You know how Ireland, especially, have a very large birth rate. And then if we look at fertility rate, which I know is not the same thing, we have paradox, i.e. Israel 3.2 fertility rate. Alright. And culture and tradition, yeah, it's kind of tied in, isn't it, with religion, kind of. How much time am I on? 16. How many more? 7. Alright, just one more. Okay, I'll just speed run this. Now, this is one of the most filthiest questions I've seen, right? I saved the best till last. Alright. What are, if you get this right, then you've aced social med. You'll definitely pass, right? If you know this, you know your stuff. What are the 3 laws that register medical establishments? Okay. What are the 3 laws that register medical establishments? Now, the thing that will separate and make, basically distinguish your answer from another answer which you could have, register. Now, we haven't been taught this, to be honest, in the lecture. I can't remember the time that we were taught this answer, but the practical teacher has told us that this is the answer. Alright? So, what are 3 laws that register medical establishments? So, the answer is this: trade law, law for the medical establishments, and commercial law. Now, this one, number 1, we have already seen it before, and I'm not going to tell you where because it leads on to my next question. But then we have these 2, trade law and commercial law. Trade law I have never seen. Maybe in one of the older lectures. But yeah, it's a strange one. And third one, commercial law. Okay, we've seen this in the previous lecture in regards to law for the medical establishments. It was tied in with that law. Okay. Now, very filthy question. And now what they can do is they can change this question, and then they can let's get a green, change this register, give the 3 health legislation laws. The key word here is legislation. Give the 3 health legislation laws. Now, this is what we just done in the previous lecture. Okay. Now, this is the law for the medical establishments. Again, this comes up in both answers. So, yeah, that can help you out at least, knowing that this is a definite answer for both questions. You've secured yourself for 1 mark. Nah, I don't think they do that. I think, yeah, it's gonna be an MCQ type, isn't it? So, second one, Health Act or Law of Health Act. Okay, and third one, Law for Health Insurance. These three things, please learn it. Just learn this. Okay, it's a high yield question. All right, and obviously spend some time going through each of these different components. All of them have a bunch of different definitions that you need to know. And yeah, that has been the breakdown of my colloquium and some of the probably many different BS questions that might come up. Okay. So just be on your toes, alright? Just read the question carefully. And yeah, hopefully this has been useful. And yeah, take care.